Hi, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Armchair Keepers of Arcane Secrets. I'm your host, Matt Ryan.
And I'm Bob Geis.
And we, sports fans, because I know you've been keeping score at home, we are in an exciting spot. Bob and I's teams are in the same spot in the campaign
But not at the same time.
because you play in real life a day earlier.
Yes, I finally pulled ahead. Yes,
But
24
but we
hours
me- but
ahead.
we measure the campaign by the release of the recordings. So even
I,
though you might be ahead in real life, we're tied.
that's right. That's right. Absolutely. We both arrived at Shanghai.
We have both arrived at Chiang. I don't have any props super available to
No, I mean,
flash here, but we are both at chapter. So we have, here I can move around. The viewers love when I move to the studio.
they do. They do. The comments always reflect that. Mobile Matt is where it's at. I've
Could
seen that
Matt
written.
move to the studio more? Okay, look. So here, this is exciting. This is volume one of the Epic Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign. This is the updated version, and this includes chapters New York, which we played. Help me out.
And Peru that we did not.
Which did we not? London, which we did.
London, London and Cairo are the remaining chapters.
Cairo. And then
Yeah.
from Cairo, we switched to volume two.
Yes,
That's exciting. So can we just throw this away now?
I think so.
No, no. There's much to reference.
That's
Uh,
right. That's
so we're
right.
gonna we're gonna start our recap. We've got a strict timer going. We are
Yeah.
under orders from management to keep this baby to time.
Yep. And I don't believe that we did a final chapter on Egypt, for me at least.
A fine. Well, you're gonna have 10 minutes, Bob.
Right on.
And I need to do some Egypt to wrap up as well. So let's pay attention, kids, as Keeper Bob tells us what happened.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, I am very proud of my crew. They did an unbelievable job in Cairo. It was like precision bombing that they did. They cut through all the fat and they really just did a very, very trim 3 session run of Cairo, and they wrapped that thing up with just precision, right? So they went, they did not. I mean, they never even thought about going to Omar al-Shakti. It was never even on the table, right? They went straight, from the Egyptian Museum to the pyramid, the Mycerius pyramid, into there. They grabbed the girdle and the crown and the necklace of Nitocris. They took that with them, and then the flood of the children of the Sphinx came in with the little wormy creatures that came in with them, right? And I threw those in there, but just to give a mass of perceived threat. The little wormy creatures really weren't that threatening. They were just like diminutive little stunted humanoids that were creepy. But the children of the Sphinx were a threat. So that all happened. Their sanity was lost, and people began of their own free will to run into the black space that's at the rear of that chamber, right? Which is where I'd hoped that they would go.
Running in retreat.
Yes, yes. There was a little bit of shooty where they killed one of the children of the Sphinx, but then the tide just swept them all along, right? And when they saw that they were, because they had planned to retreat up to the throne and out that way, but I had people coming or creatures coming in from that way, so that was cut off. So they ran into the black space. When they ran into the black space, immediately one of the players decided that that would be the ideal time to cast their spell that they had had. And this is like contact the void or something like that, which is contact Nyarlathotep, right?
Which is perfect. That's perfect
So
timing.
perfect timing, perfect timing. So basically, they were lost in this, abyss, right? They were lost in the abyss, and each character was in the abyss, but they were not together, right? They were all separate, and so they all wandered into this room. But the character that cast that spell was like, drawn in by this brilliant glowing light, which was, of course, emanating from the bent from the bent pyramid in the chamber of Nyarlathotep. So they went in there, and there they had one of the guys, of course, sat in the throne, right? He sat in the throne, and boom, was immediately possessed by Nyarlathotep. And then I had my scene with Nyarlathotep where the players, chatted with him, and he tempted them with their heart's desires. If they would stop their quest. One of the characters, hard written into his backstory is that he will not do anything like that. He is a steadfast crusader, and so he refused, but his position kind of carried everyone else. So they all refused, and then we're shown the terrible scene of carnage with the Carlisle expedition being ripped apart.
Put a
Uh,
pin in that. Put a pin in that.
yes, and so they saw all that. It was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then, so it was a time. It was a time, Matt, for to pay the piper for the guy who sat in the throne, right? Because that person is basically their mind has been open to the horrors of all Nyarlathotep's plans and plots and his inner workings of his brain, a sanity-shattering experience, which is either a D10 loss or a D100 loss. So I was salivating. I was waiting for my moment. I was waiting. And so my guy, it's like, all right, roll your sanity. 75. Totally blew it.
Totally blew it. And now you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
you're excited.
D100. D100, baby. Let it roll. Let it roll. Let's see your character get destroyed.
And he rolled a
0-1.
same deal with me. They rolled a 0-2. I know.
0-1 point of sanity. One. I was like, I almost quit.
The game is for the players.
It was like
the focus is on the
it was a
players'
great moment
enjoyment.
for him. The players loved it. It's like, you got away.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And from that point, they were done. They were done with Cairo. They were done. It's
They
like,
got
all
on the
right,
boat and they
we're
went to
leaving.
Shanghai.
We're going to Shanghai. It's like, okay. It's like, they said, should we talk? Should we go look at should we talk to this Clive expedition? No. Well, again, they had Dr. Kafur. Dr. Kafur warned them that the mummy that they found in the chamber was Nitocris, but that the artifacts that they had, the necklace and the crown, were pivotal to the resurrection of Nitocris, and because it's in the text that he will help them to determine what they need to do this, and so they one of the characters had the scroll from the Pinhu Foundation, or I think it's actually the Mizir House, that has that spell, enchant living flame. And so that was Yalisha, who's now a player character. She said, "Oh, I have that spell. I'll just cast it and destroy that. We're done. Shanghai, Shanghai." And so yeah, so they just left. They just left. Clive expedition, and they did it so quick. I mean, there was basically, it was like
Like
maybe 3 days that they
hive
were.
mind. It's like the hive mind. They
And
all
so,
got together and they
and so,
said,
yeah. And I had all these plans how word was going to get back to Egypt about that what would happen to Henson Manufacturing, and Omar Shakti was going to be upset, and
they were in and out.
but they were like, it's like words got there, but it's like, what happened, right? And so it's like and so they left. I was very proud of them, and then they went to Shanghai. So now they've gone to Shanghai, all right, and we just got started there.
But you've spent last session you spent in Shanghai.
Yeah, we did we did the boat, right? It takes 25 days. It's going to take them 25 days to get across. So they had boat activities, which we've done, which has always been good. They've been able to read the books and all that stuff.
Yep,
But there was
learn new, improve skills. Yeah, which
a little
that's
bit
a
of
nice.
sanity back. But again, they cost themselves their sanity rewards because they were so precise. They didn't close a lot of loops there, right? So they didn't get they did not get much sanity back. So,
Sure.
but real quick, on the boat, one of the things that they have acquired for the first time in my entire history of running Call of Cthulhu, one of the players has
Yes, I know.
Al Azif, which again, it's like, whoa, whoa.
Which is the Necronomicon. Essentially, it's right. It's the
source of
it's the primary text. It's the primary
Exactly.
text of the Necronomicon. And you've got a player character Yulisha, who can read Arabic.
and who made her rule. Again, you have to make succeed on a rule to be able to read it. She did great. I think she had to spend a little bit of luck to do it, but she still did it. And that carries a 2d10 sanity loss. Yalisha lost 19 sanity. All right. Yes.
But over time. So there's
Well,
no,
yeah, I mean, in that, well, again, it was that night. It was like basically it was a shock, right? So
yeah.
she now believes that she is the reincarnation of Queen Nitocris.
Oh, you're twisting it up. You're twisting it up. That's not rules as written.
Hey, but what her insanity led her to believe as she was reading all this, that this was all ordained for her to find this. Now she has this delusion, right, that she is Queen Nitocris. Not
Interesting.
that she is. She's the delusion that she is. And so this character is deluded. The player is nefarious. Who knows what kind of awful stuff is going to happen because of this? But and so they got to Shanghai. They just really have started doing some basic.
What was their first move?
Their first moves was to go to stumbling into the Stumbling Tiger bar and talk to the people there. They talked to the people there. They found the fantastic, newspaper, that we got from our friends at H.P. Lovecraft Historical
They
Society.
found that at the Stumbling Tiger?
They did for me. Um, because my players have ignored newspapers as a source of information. So I said that there was some guy reading the newspaper and they found it. They found the newspaper there because the newspaper's only 2 days old in that event.
We can, and I'm making a note about that because we also need to talk about behind the scenes timing
Yeah,
because there's some goofy bits in Shanghai.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So they just found the newspaper. They talked to some people, and they followed up on an article there, which is a violent incident on Lantern Street, and they started following up on that, and that's where we ended.
And that's the kidnapped girlfriend, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, the part that I have thinking is problematic.
Problematic, problematic. It'll be fine. They'll love it.
Okay, well done, Indianapolis team. Well done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
uh so what did we do? All right, we've had like a 5 week break because there was a whole bunch of different things. I had some, my band played, that threw us off a week. I went to a convention that threw us off a week, but we reunited and we've got 7 players. 5 of them were able to show. 3 of them had to make new characters. So I had thought about handing Yulisha off to somebody, but I thought it might be more enjoyable for them to make new characters. And I kept saying, play somebody, make somebody that you want to play, have skills that you think are going to work. One of the players, Meredith, did a whole bunch of research prior and came up with a biologist that was a real biologist that had worked in Borneo or something, and so she modeled her new character on that real person, which is always cool. Another guy came up with a character who sort of had some mystic Cthulhu revelation as he was staring into some Tesla coils.
Oh
So
my.
he wanted to start with a little Cthulhu mythos
Yeah.
skill, and I said, "Yeah, that's fine. We're halfway through the campaign. Yeah, yeah. Anybody who wants a little mythos can have some." And then the third character, the one that was squished like a meat balloon by the hunting horror, he made a smuggler who is balls to the wall violent and an expert shot with a handgun.
Nice. All right, they're learning.
They're learning. They are learning with 10 hit points.
Well, it's a rough life.
It's that takes an hour, and then we return, and we've got some wrap up to do in Egypt. And viewers, you can listen to my Egypt recap from past episodes. But essentially, we had three dead investigators, hence remaking the investigators, and we had to do a little cleanup and like what do you do with the bodies? What do you do with this? What do you do with that? Um, and in that, I seeded a few forward clues to Shanghai. The guy from the Cairo Bulletin mentioned the dude from the Shanghai Bulletin, so there's a place to go. Kafur said that he'd been in letter contact over the years with some guy from the Shanghai
Oh,
Museum.
nice. That's nice.
So
Very
there's
good.
just a couple little seeds for them to do. And then they're on the ship. And of course, we don't do anything narrative on the ship. It's just a chance for them to read books. It's a chance for them to improve skills. And then we pull into Shanghai.
Yep.
And there is, in this baby, there is a little hidden note that there's a chance based on a successful luck score that when they pull into the harbor, which of course is along the river, so it's this long harbor, they see the Dark Mistress.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, they had a good time with the dude from the Ivory Wind as well. I'm going to stick that in there. So if anybody else makes a luck roll, I said, you're going to see that. And they both succeeded. So pulling into the harbor, they saw the Dark Mistress. So they scratched some notes. Oh, that's something to investigate. And then they find the Ivory Wind arriving with a parts shipment. And they're like, oh, that's something to investigate too.
Oh my.
So, and then we go straight to a hotel. I always like finding a place for them to bivouac and
Yeah.
just some place for them to like set their shit for a minute, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then okay, so they made characters. This was great. They made characters um that one of them had an apartment in Shanghai. The female botanist, the woman had
Okay.
an apartment. She says, I have an apartment in Shanghai. And I said, great, here's the map. Tell me where it is.
Okay.
And I showed her the sort of the different settlements,
Yep.
and she
Yep.
picked a place. And then the smuggler is he's Chinese, so his native language
Oh,
is Chinese from Hong Kong. So
oh,
so
that's
they don't
nice.
have to do any like cultural adjustment stuff.
Yeah,
They can
that's
speak the
brilliant.
language and whatnot. So they immediately, because they've got time to kill, they go to the Shanghai Museum and they talk to Dr. Mao and they start
Okay.
talking about other occultists that can help them.
Oh my,
And
nice.
somebody made a joke about it. I did. I said, why don't you go here's a nice noodle place. Go have some noodles for dinner. And the player playing the character that had the apartment said, well, what about this noodle place? And then they got into a discussion about the merits of the different noodle places.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So we rolled some dice, and and she impressed the guy. So then he took them all out to dinner in the heart of the Chinese part of town
Okay.
where Westerners don't often go.
Sure.
And in that little episode, I had, because Shanghai is supposed to be uber violent. I had at the noodle house next door, I had
Mhm.
a team of gangsters show up and machine gun down another group of gangsters,
Oh my
rival
gosh, that's
gangsters,
fantastic.
at the noodle shop next door. So there's machine gun spray, there's people screaming.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the game.
Nothing to do with the game, but it sets the tone. And
That's
then
beautiful.
the machine gun gangsters jump in their car and they drive off. And then the gangsters that were in the noodle shop come out and they start shooting down the street. And then they carry their dead bodies away. And no police show up.
Sure. Sure. People just slurping away at their noodles.
So they think they've got a free hand.
Nice. All
They go
right.
back to their hotel and one of them says, hey, the night's early. Let's go to the Stumbling Tiger. And I thought, oh, yes, let's. So they go to the Stumbling Tiger bar and they've got the matchbook.
Hmm.
And then we get into one of the I think the challenging parts of running the game. That there is information at the Stumbling Tiger bar from the bartender.
Yeah.
But it depends on a certain level of success in a role to see if he is forthcoming.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all know we want the players to have this.
Sure.
So it's all this question of, okay, it's a worm on a hook. How much do you want to really make them squirm just to give them the info?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do they have to do kind of to, so the way that I rolled with it is they're getting the info.
Oh yeah.
If they failed the persuade roll, other people overhear them.
Yep. Yeah.
Or didn't get whatever level of success it was.
Yeah,
So
sure. No, I get it.
so it
Because they have
worked.
to come out with that with the info.
Yeah, there's no place to go without the info.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked very well in that the Isoge, the
Oh,
Japanese guy
yeah.
that's overhearing, he
Yeah.
overheard,
Yeah.
and three hoodlums from Madam Lin.
Oh,
They
nice.
were all they were. Everybody heard. Everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, so we've got five players. I don't want to go on forever, but one of the investigators is a woman. So when
Okay.
she walked into the Stumbling Tiger and saw no other women, she left.
Okay.
and another character escorted her back to the hotel.
Sure, sure.
So now I'm down to 3 investigators in the Stumbling
Oh, no.
Tiger. They leave
Mhm.
walking. Oh, and the car, they'd hired a car to wait for them. The car's gone when they come out.
Oh, of course, yeah.
As they're walking down the street, of course, the 3 dudes from Madam Lin are following them.
Oh my. Okay,
And I
okay.
knew, like, if they turned the tables and followed them, I knew where they were going to go. Right?
Yep.
I knew I was prepared. I was prepared.
It sounds like you did a marvelous job.
So they ducked into an alley to ambush them, and the 3 dudes followed them to an alley. They stepped out from behind garbage cans with their guns revealed and said something threatening. And the 3 guys, and I started doing karate moves at the table, Bob. And the 3 guys charged them,
Nice.
and they shot them dead.
The players.
The players just mowed them down.
They've embraced the lawlessness of Shanghai. Oh my gosh.
But then see, now we're in the western section of town,
Yeah.
and there is a police force there. So they hear police whistles. They find out that the 3 men, one of the guys says, Madam Lin will whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
our revenge, whatever. And that's where we ended,
Holy cow.
with
That's
some
great.
instant violence in Shanghai.
No, that's great. I love it. I love it because again, I made a mistake. I showed, didn't, I told, didn't show, right? And so I kind of gave them the idea that there was tension in the air, right? And basically that was because one of the characters had been to Shanghai and a long time ago and then came back. It was a different scene. So I have to step up my game to keep up with the Matt Ryan.
Now, here, I want to talk about some of the problematic timing issues. Depending on what how long, here's the question.
Mhm.
How long does Ho Fang have the girlfriend?
As long as it needs,
But how long is she in this coffin where they're like taking this glass coffin where they're taking their time to torture her?
Yeah, I know. See, that could be tricky. That could be a tricky thing. But
You know,
so but you can control that because the time that she disappears, it doesn't necessarily equate one for one to her being kidnapped, right? So, you know, I would say because they don't know that she's kidnapped until one of two things: one, that they go to Hofang's, or two, that they talk to Jack Brady, right? So it's
or
like,
the newspaper clue.
well, the newspaper clue doesn't say she was kidnapped like then. It says that there was an event at a one flower girl house because they thought she was there, but she was actually at another one, and then she disappeared from that one, but she didn't wasn't necessarily kidnapped from that one. She just disappeared, so she could have left with Jack Brady. So we have some wiggle room with the timing. You can make the timing work for you.
Interesting. Because one of the players is the 2 players that weren't at the Stumbling Tiger. They said they have like a drink or something at the hotel bar, and then they grab some local newspapers
Yeah,
and head upstairs. So I was thinking of starting next session with the
yeah,
newspaper.
I totally would because
Hand the newspaper out.
yeah, they get the newspaper, and there's a string of clues that leads them through that, and you can control the timing so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be like the day before, and that the girl was kidnapped and put into that terrible, terrible peril with the coffin.
Yes. And then the last thing that I want to say is,
Yep.
because you had mentioned the terrible visions that Nyarlathotep lies to the investigators with about
Yes.
the
Yes.
Carlisle party
Yes.
being ripped apart in Kenya.
Yep.
That really threw my players.
Okay.
They
Good.
really thought, well, fuck, they're all dead.
Yeah. Yeah. My players kind of took that. It's like, oh yeah, they're all dead. Okay, let's go on. And they didn't react to it much though.
So they just sort of sucked into the idea of the quest. They're going to
Yeah.
go, they're going to.
Yeah. That's right. That is right.
I think, Bob, as written and as it falls out in the campaign, I
Yeah.
think Shanghai is the original author's intended climax of the campaign.
Yeah, it is. I definitely agree that it is, but I think that it's uh, I don't think that it should be, right? I stand by my Kenya ending 100% because I feel that it started in Kenya and everything else came up around it and it should end in Kenya, right? That's what I mean.
Complete the circle.
Yeah, and I mean, because I've ended it both ways. I've ended it in Shanghai with the rocket exploding,
Yeah.
But the time I ended it in Kenya was just so much more poignant, right? Because again, the stakes are super high once the rocket has been destroyed, right? It's like and I did uh, a better job of emphasizing the birth of Narathlotep, of the spawn of Narathlotep, right? So that's going to be a big event, and that's that the rocket and the opening of the way is a precursor, right? A lead up to the birth of the
Interesting.
spawn, right? So it's the players in their heads, they know that the big event is the spawn. So that's where they're headed to. So I mean, you can see
Your players currently know that?
yes,
They do.
yes, because
I don't know. I haven't done a good job of installing that idea.
well, I mean, again, that whole scene in the chamber, I was absolutely steadfast that they were going to get the what, the where, and the why
Yeah.
about that whole thing,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
they understand the timing now with the totality and the eclipse. They
Yeah.
understand about that. They understand about the spawn. So they're fully, in the know, which I think is critical to this game because again, it can get foggy, right? They won't necessarily
What
understand
to
why
it?
they're doing what they're doing. And I really wanted to put that in their heads. Again, it's not just about avenging Jackson Elias anymore. They have a much bigger, aim in mind.
Right. 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 An in-depth conversation. Now, that was some proper armchairing right there, Bob.
That was. That's why
This
people
is what
come.
the folks pay for.
Yes, yes.
All right, folks. What do we got going on? Bob and I, next week, we're going to be together in real life, elbow to elbow, running games at Gamehole Convention in lovely Madison, Wisconsin.
Super excited.
And then, East Coast fans, Bob and I are going to PAX Unplugged.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
It's Bob's first time in Philly, and we're going to
That's
show him
right.
a good time. I'm an East Coast guy. I've been to Philly multiple times. So at either of those cons, if you come up to us and say hello, we'll give you an Armchair Keeper of Armchair Secrets pin, unless they're confiscated on the flight to Madison.
They might be. They are contraband.
Are pins contraband?
They are. These are. And for a few lucky people at Gamehole, I have these.
Now, what are those? Well, I better be one of those motherfucking lucky people because I
Look
don't
at
even
that.
have one of
Look at
those.
that. Yes, there's just a handful of these, and I dropped some of them on the floor, so there's even fewer handfuls.
I want one with a footstep. So we're at 150 plus subscribers, but because the 150th subscriber, who I've now forgotten your kind name, was very nice and said that I don't have to eat raw meat on camera. I'm very happy. I'll do all my raw meat eating off camera like I normally do. But we still could use some subscribers, folks. And there's still some magic bubbling behind the scenes.
That's right.
And Bob and I have entered discussions about what we're going to do after this.
After masks.
We had said, now
After masks.
I know we'd made a promise of a campaign, but
But
we
we
are
break down.
liars.
Yeah, absolutely. Ha 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 ha. Empty promises. That's right.
And we might be running something else, but we will be running something. Thanks so much for your attention. Have a wonderful, wonderful whatever it is for you in your viewing of this.